everybody. It's your girl, Pajama, with Pajama Life. And today we have an interesting mix of things to watch. And starting off with Secret Invasion. It's finally here. The new Marvel MCU series, Chevalier, about Joseph Bologna, the Chevalier of Saint George. Really interesting. And Mrs. Davis from Peacock, the wild religious kind of, right? And so it ought to be pretty interesting talking about it. And I couldn't talk about it unless I had these two characters with me. Hey, my two brothers from other mothers, David, the professor of all things Star Wars. Say hey to the people.
Hey, everybody. Great to be with you tonight. Looking forward to talking to you about these programs. Should be a fun, engaging, however long we go.
Yeah. And this guy, our guru of all things Marvel, which he has something Marvel to talk about this week. Say hey to the people, Patrick.
Hey, everybody. Great start to a lot of stuff going on this week. Looking forward to talking about it.
Hey, so let's jump in with the first is Samuel L. Jackson back from what, space?
Yeah.
Is Secret Invasion. Let's take a peek.
We have a situation, Mr. President. Concerning? Agent Fury. We just received word that he's left Sabre.
There's a very real threat out there. Your lack of contact over the past few years sent a pretty clear message.
There is an architect to that tension, Agent Ross. These attacks are escalating. If they hit the soil of a major power,
So you think the same people are behind all of this?
not people. Skrulls.
Oh man, so let's get our professor of all things Marvel to talk about Secret Invasion.
I guess that's me. Okay, cool. I am really curious to see. I think there's only a 6-episode series, if I'm not mistaken, and there's a lot of stuff to have to cover if they're really going to try to get into this. Now, I can see how they've definitely pared parts of it down from the original source material, because you're not going to have it doesn't seem like there's superheroes in it per se so far. The first episode, you didn't have any of the superpowered people kind of showing up. Avengers, X-Men, any other stuff that would have been in the actual books, which was part of the big deal. Really interesting stuff. I've tried to avoid most of the online chatter about it, but every now and then I catch a headline of it, and it's too late. I can't unsee it once I've seen it. And there's some interesting talk about how they're trying to do this is similar to like the Andor, where they are dealing with more real world, not as mystical, not as otherworldly. Granted, you've got shapeshifters all over the place, but this looks really interesting. And it was interesting to see Emilia Clarke as something other than Daenerys Targaryen, which is a weird look for me, because I'm like,
Where's her blonde hair?
Huh?
Where's her blonde hair?
Yeah, it was just a different look. And I mean, she was in a Star Wars series, a movie too, the Solo one, which was very solo, a lot more solo than it should have been. But there was some really a good intro. I don't give things away about what some of the stuff that happened, but I would definitely encourage anybody who's watching our show to watch that show, because it was really a good start, and it looks like it's got a lot of promise.
David, what do you think?
I was really impressed, thinking about, we compare and contrast things so much here with the last thing we saw. The last Marvel show that I'm remembering was, I guess maybe it was Miss Marvel, but I got to tell you,
She-Hulk.
The She-Hulk really stood out to me as a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
And from the get-go, this show looks to be delivering. I don't have the mythology and the depth of the source material like Patrick, but I thought it really grabs you from the onset. Love to see Samuel L. Jackson take this whole show is taking itself seriously, and it is good. It is a good start. I was hoping there might have been a couple of episodes that dropped, but just one, and I've watched it twice.
So I don't know if I loved it yet. I love Samuel L. Jackson, so of course I'm gonna recommend it. But I just don't know yet. And maybe you need to go back and watch Captain Marvel to kind of lay the foundation of this. But it's definitely not for newbies to the MCU. Because there's a lot of information that you may have had to watch the other series on, so it's not something you can kind of just jump into. But I thought there are a couple things I didn't like. I didn't like the final scene because one of the characters is killed, and it kind of irritated me that was her demise, that was her demise. You probably seen it if you watched anything about it, but it was just like they didn't do anything with their character, so I just was kind of irritated at that. But we know with superhero shows and comics, just because you kind of die doesn't mean you actually die. So we'll see what happens. Since this is a show about shapeshifters, we don't really know who's good and who's bad and who's the villain and who's not. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes. I just didn't love it. But I'm intrigued because I loved Captain America Civil War. And which I think is a predecessor too of some of this conspiracy theory kind of stuff. So I'll be interested to see where they head with Secret Invasion. And look to see who of our favorites might not be human and who might be a Skrull. So that'll be interesting. And if Miss Marvel will make an appearance, or maybe that's the whole point. And because I kind of was like, well, I think I'd be kind of upset too if I was waiting for a home and 30 years later still don't have one, and the person who told me they were going to give me one kind of just checked out. But here's the other thing I didn't like. Okay, so it's like black people can't have trauma, man. This whole thing is like, well, Nick Fury, you left us, you abandoned us. And I'm like, the man was whole dead for 5 years and came back, and he might have a little bit of trauma, but apparently he's just supposed to shake it off and just be like, okay, everything's okay.
He's Nick Fury. Of course he's supposed to just shake it off. That's what he does.
That's right. Suck
Everybody has an experience of trauma, man.
This is fictional. It's Nick Fury. He's not that person.
Well, he is. Apparently, in this series, he is. And I'm just like, let the man have a minute to kind of get himself together. Everybody's not going to just be okay.
We have 5 years up on the sideline. He should be good.
No. That's the experience that I see in some TV all the time. Scandal was one. Other things where people just expect us to just not have to deal with trauma. So that kind of irritated me about this show from the jump. So I was kind of like, okay. Okay, so but I'm still intrigued. I love conspiracy theory kind of stuff, so we'll see where it takes us. I hope it's an interesting place. But definitely keep watching Secret Invasion, because you never know. Maybe one of us is a Skrull. I vote for that guy.
I'd be more important if I was a Skrull, trust me.
All right, next up. Ooh, a really interesting look at some forgotten history, which a lot of us haven't been exposed to. Chevalier. Let's take a look.
May I play with you, monsieur?
This place may not be immediately welcoming to you, boy, but you must be excellent. Always excellent. Not give anyone any reason to tear you down.
I want to lead the Paris Opera.
I cannot afford to make any more enemies.
Don't you touch me! Get off of me! You're sad!
In any other country, a man of your color would not be wearing such fine clothes or be so boldly propositioning a man's wife in his own drawing room.
See that he's never able to play his little fiddle again.
Grab his hand! One moment I was a man of France, but now I'm only a Negro.
David, what did you think of Chevalier?
Well, you mentioned kind of forgotten history or unknown history. I certainly fall into that category, not knowing anything about this before. Oscar, stop that. Wanted to get his time in. I was blown away by it. I thought it was a very impressive film. So did Oscar. He's trying to dig himself to France right now. Wonderfully done. I love period pieces. One of the things that when we watch some of the Netflix things with Bridgerton, I like the costumes and all.
Oh my God.
So I certainly enjoyed the look of this film.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it's a little early. The wardrobe, the costume design, maybe Oscar worthy. I mean, I think might be a little early for that, but I enjoyed this. I thought this was a really powerful flick. Enjoyed it. And again, I love to learn things about history that I didn't know. As a history guy, I'm reminded constantly of the many books that I need to read. So check this one out. I enjoyed it a lot.
Pat, what did you think?
Yeah, I liked it too. I mean, it was something I've never heard of, obviously. I mean, because even throughout the entire movie, they're alluding to the fact this is forgotten history, and the epitaph at the end of it, where here's where the movie ends, but here's what happened to this character and that character and this character. I mean, you knew what happened to Marie Antoinette. She had it coming. But really well done, I thought. And you know what, Dave, I'm with you. I have such a soft spot also for a well done period piece.
Yeah.
And this felt good as far as it was together. I mean, and that cold open that they started with was just really impressive, I thought. Overall, really well done, I thought. I wish I'd seen the theaters. It was one of the ones that was on my list. Just never made it into the cut of something that was even more cooler I thought was coming out. So, or I was busy that weekend, couldn't make it to the theater. So I was really glad I got to see this. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it looks beautiful too. I mean, just the cinematography is gorgeous, and an interesting story about someone who I'm glad that they were able to the final score is his score. It's his work. And so you can hear the beautiful music that he created, and how wonderful that they were able to rescue some of it. Napoleon, and they said, tried to destroy all of it. And luckily, some of it survived so that we have some of those compositions, but really well acted. The young man who plays Chevalier is fantastic and really kind of a very controlled,
really restrained.
Yeah. And with his music, that was just incredible to see. I played violin and cello, and so I was very interested to see and hear. I mean, that you think they make it look easy? That's very hard what they were doing. And so Marie Antoinette, but then part of me was like, come on, dude. You know the game.
Stay in your lane.
You can't go around you know, he should have just slept with that Jamal chick. And just, Minnie Driver looks incredible.
Yeah.
It is amazing. He should have just broke her off some, and it would have been okay. And then you can't just sleep with the man's wife and then be like, you know, let's go run away together. Man, come on. So that part I was kind of like, and when the mom came in and kind of like said, dude, look, you're entertainment for them. Don't get it twisted. And then he got his wake up call and then really flipped the script. So I was like, wow, but really hauntingly beautiful story. I'm for one, I am going to try and get the soundtrack so that I can listen to more of his composition and hear his wonderful, wonderful music. So definitely, if you love period pieces, if you love music, art, you know, just good, solid movie making, and something I think the entire family can watch.
Yeah.
Particularly those who have a problem with history and trying to erase our contributions from history. Please go and watch and look up the history of Joseph Bologna, Chevalier Saint-Georges, and check out Chevalier. Okay. Finally, we have what I think is one of the most creative and strange and weird TV shows in a long time by the creator of Watchmen and Lost. Mrs. Davis, let's take a peek.
Is it okay if I proxy? What? She'll speak to me through here, and then I'll just repeat whatever she says.
I don't want to talk to it.
Because I killed your dad?
Yeah, because I killed my dad.
Your mother is such a genius. If I could just have a peek inside her workshop.
What's your name? Lizzie. What's yours? Wiley. I've always wanted to meet a real cowboy.
Damn it, Lizzie! Hey, my name is Simone now.
What did you say when I proposed to you?
Yes, Jesus.
The algorithm distracts its users, sends them on little quests. Fucking wings.
You use it long enough, it gives you wings, right?
Wrong. It uses you long enough. It gives you strings.
After you find it, I will end my life.
Do you know where the Holy Grail is?
It's the last person known to be in possession of the Grail. Her name is Clara.
We can find it, and I can at last destroy the Holy Grail.
You want the Lazarus Shroud? Tell me where your father is.
Dad's dead.
Let's plan a heist.
Okay, I gotta hear what David thinks of Mrs. Davis.
I was blown away. I did look. I had to ask my wife if there had been any kind of psychedelic mushrooms that had been put in my meal as I was watching this. I had to kind of like, what? Wow. I mean, it was something different. And from that perspective alone, I want to watch more. I haven't seen the whole thing. So what I've been able to watch, very impressed. Enjoy the cast. The guy that plays JQ, underrated actor, who was in the show called Episodes with Matt LeBlanc.
Okay.
He played an over-the-top crazy TV executive. So it was fun to see him in something again. I enjoyed this. Would have never picked it to save my life. But thanks to this program, my horizons have been broadened, and I'm checking my medications to see if there's anything going on in here where I'm seeing double or triple or in multiverse effect or something. But no, this was good. I enjoyed it.
Quite surprised, Patrick. What did you think?
Okay, let me preface this by saying a lot of things that Pam suggests to us are things I would never have picked, and a lot of times I'm not enthusiastic. I tend to be a little bit more critical, perhaps. I freaking love this. This was amazing. It was ridiculous on just how ridiculous it was. I mean, there were so many Easter eggs and little things in there. If you paid attention, you caught stuff, like the name of the law firm was like, I can't remember, it was like 3 legal terms. And it was just
Oh
ridiculous,
yeah, right.
ridiculous little things. And there was just such a 70s vibe to it. The sparkly helmet she was wearing, on the motorcycle, and it felt like an A-Team or, maybe a $6 Million Man episode, parts of it, just the feel of it, the whole overall vibe of it. And it was just ridiculous. I mean, just how weird and like David alluded to, it felt kind of trippy. I mean, there's just like the reality wasn't meshing with the normal reality, but it was just delightful. I'm downloading this stuff to watch on my trip tomorrow, I'm telling you, so I can catch up all the way through whatever they've got I can stream. I'm going to download it. I'm going to sit in the airport, watch this, and laugh and people are going to look at me like I'm crazy, but it was wonderful. Totally love this. Can't recommend this enough.
What? I am blown away by this reaction. So it is wild. It is so creative. And I can't wait for you all to watch all of it all the way through, because it's a wild look at religion and Catholicism and Christianity and AI and
the Templars and every other dang thing. Yes, so much stuff.
It's just like what do you call that? A pot pie, You don't think that all that stuff goes together and then it's in the shell and then you take a bite and you're like, wow, this is delicious, man. So it is, but it is definitely so creative. That's what I love about stuff like this, when you run across something and you're like, who thinks of this? Who has this kind of brain? It's incredible to mush all these genres together and come out with something so interesting. So, but you might have to, it's a lot to take in. So you might have to rewatch parts of it to kind of keep up with the story. If that's my only criticism, is that it's not always story doesn't always work in terms of keeping up with it, but then it'll come together maybe in a few episodes later, so you'll definitely see a narrative thread. So
there are a lot of interesting cameos too that I really loved. I mean, there's a lot of names that are in this show.
Yeah.
That if you're not paying attention, you're like going, who is that? And you have to IMDb that stuff and go, oh my God, that was the Margot Martindale. She was the handler in the Americans, and she had that little bit part in the first episode. I'm like, oh my God, and there's David Arquette. I mean, it kind of reminded me of Poker Face in the way that they always had a different, big name kind of show up. It felt like a 70s show where they would always have, like the Love Boat, you'd have all these new characters, or you'd have, or Rockford Files have a special episode with, Charo would be on, or whatever, I mean, it was just, it had such a great 70s feel to that. Sherry, my wife, loves 70s TV shows a lot, and I see a lot of them. So I maybe a little more attuned to that sensibility. And oh my God, this one really hit it.
Yeah. And it's definitely unique. It's definitely unique. So those don't come around very often these days. Everything's kind of a repeat or a reboot, or the kernel of it isn't something else. This is unique. So definitely, if you like something that kind of will blow your head off with this difference, and for some people a little challenging, the things, but definitely check out Mrs. Davis on Peacock. Well, that's all we have for this week. Next week we have, and hopefully it's out on Peacock where we can watch it, is Super Mario Brothers. I think that's the right word.
That was.
And again, we're going to be watching Secret Invasion every week. So next week we'll be checking that out. And then for the 4th of July, we will take a look at our favorite patriarchy.
Whoa, okay, well, I gotta watch something different now, apparently. Okay.
Slip of the tongue. Patriotic movie. For you, maybe you haven't had a chance to check out for Independence Day. So definitely come back next week. Guys, David, say goodnight to the people.
So long, everybody. Enjoy these programs and a show that we didn't talk about, but maybe we should. Second episode of Strange New World.
Oh my God, you said it before I did. Damn it.
I love it. Gotta watch it.
Patrick?
Live long and prosper.
Oh, you hit me with the live long and prosper. Pow, double time. And we want you to live on and prosper as well, but only if you watch us next week.
Yeah, even still, but yeah.
Otherwise, crash and burn. So we'll see you next time on Pajama Life. Take care. Bye.
See you guys.